Harare hit. Chiwenga faction deals fatal blow to Mnangagwa's 2030 plot in explosive midnight session. Muripo pano pamzinda wevanhu. Ndini super. The political landscape in Zimbabwe has been permanently altered following a dramatic late-night parliamentary showdown that has effectively dismantled President Mnangagwa's controversial Cape 3. In what senior legislative sources are calling a structural masterstroke, the military-backed faction aligned with Vice President Constantino Chiwenga successfully locked down the state architecture, leaving the president completely isolated and forcing the definitive collapse of the ED 2030 term extension project. Right, one, the death of Cape 3, how the numbers collapsed. So for months, the presidential inner circle confidently operated under the assumption that they could force, bribe, or intimidate ruling party lawmakers into delivering the mandatory two-thirds supermajority required to alter the 2013 constitution. However, during a highly charged closed-door legislative session that stretched into the early hours of the morning, the political mathematics completely fell apart. A powerful clandestine coalition of youthful ZANU-PF MPs, covertly backed by the military intelligence apparatus, joined forces with opposition legislators to state a massive internal revolt. When it became clear that over 40 ruling party lawmakers were prepared to defy party whips, and vote against the amendment, managers of the bill were forced to abruptly halt proceedings. The legislative bid to dissolve direct popular presidential elections and extend executive term limits to 7 years is now officially dead in the water. 2. Panic at State House. The first family cornered. The collapse of Cape 3 has triggered a wave of total panic within the first family's immediate circle. Sources inside the state residence describe an atmosphere of profound paranoia, which the aging president reportedly feeling completely betrayed by his chief legislative and legal advisors. The political isolation of the presidency has been significantly worsened by growing anger within the security architecture. The barracks revolt, rank and file soldiers and lower tier officers who are facing severe daily economic hardships and eroded salaries have expressed intense fury over the hyper-opulent public lifestyles and multi-million-dollar family weddings displayed by the elite cartel, known locally as the Zhigananda. The institutional blockade, active serving and retired military generals have flatly refused to deploy state coercion to protect what they have labeled as an internal constitutional coup. Right. 3. The Chiwenga transition takes center stage. With the 2030 agenda permanently crushed, the political center of gravity in Zimbabwe has shifted entirely toward Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. Deep state intelligence briefs indicate that the military establishment, with quiet but solid diplomatic backing from regional powerhouses within the Southern African Development Community, SADC, most notably South Africa and Angola, has already begun mapping out the mechanics of a controlled executive handover. High-level backroom negotiations are currently focusing on managing a stable, frictionless transition ahead of the next scheduled election cycle. The primary objective is to guarantee absolute safety, legal immunity, and the protection of private business assets for Mnangagwa's immediate family in exchange for a peaceful retirement. The Rubicon has been crossed. Zimbabwe's ultimate brokers of power have once again drawn an absolute line in the sand by trying to permanently steal the ballot box from the citizens and strip the military of its constitutional veto power. The civilian faction around the presidents underestimated the resilience of the deep state. The legal fiction of Cape 3 has been shattered. The 2030 plot is dead, and the era of the Chiwenga transition has officially begun. Takaenda muri Zimbabwe. So, ndini wenyu pano pamzinda wevanhu super. Tichiti stay tuned. Peace.